Okay, we are live this morning, and I think, do I see Senator Kitchell here yet? Is she on board yet? No, not yet. Okay. Okay, it is Friday morning, and we are continuing our discussion on the Senate Transportation Committee. Yesterday, when we left, we were talking about the miscellaneous bill, and Anthea was taking us through it. Is Anthea with us this morning?
Good morning, I'm
Oh,
here.
good morning. Good morning. Thank you. And why don't we continue our discussion yesterday, and we'll revisit the blue lights, and but let's continue on with the rest of it. Okay.
Sure thing. So we are in our last two changes. They
Okay.
have to do with ATVs. So I'm just going to backtrack one section so the committee
Okay.
remembers what we talked about at the tail end of yesterday.
All
This
right.
is dealing with ATVs when they're operated on frozen bodies of water as designated by the Agency of Natural Resources. And it would be making it so that they know they continue to not need to have a trail access decal or the operator wear headgear, but they would need to be registered, and that would be consistent with snowmobiles. So that's what's happening in section 36. What's happening in section 37, and we didn't talk about this yesterday, except sort of in the abstract, is under existing law, and this is language that was added with the T-bill last year. In order to operate an ATV, the operator and any passengers need to be wearing headgear that has been approved by the commissioner and is used as intended by the manufacturer. So what this language would be doing is, instead of leaving it to the commissioner's discretion as to what sort of headgear needs to be worn on what sort of ATV, this would be saying that in locations where an ATV needs to be registered in order to be lawfully used, the operator and the passenger need to wear properly secured protective headgear that is used as intended by the manufacturer. That's staying the same. And the headgear needs to conform to the federal motor vehicle safety standards contained in 49 CFR section 571.28 as amended, and any applicable regulations promulgated by the US Secretary of Transportation. That is going to be like a full headgear. It's extensive. But, and this is the new piece, is that properly secured protective headgear that is used as intended by the manufacturer is allowed, provided that it, one, conforms to the ASTM International or National Operating Committee on Standards for Athletic Equipment Safety Standards. So that's going to be like a bike helmet or like a snowboarder helmet. And the ATV is equipped with manufacturer installed rollover protection and safety belts that have not been removed or modified in any way that reduces the effectiveness. So what this is doing is saying that if you are operating a side-by-side that has seat belts and has a rollover bar, you don't need to wear as extensive of a helmet. You can wear just a general sort of sporting helmet, as opposed to the full face protection headgear that you would need to wear if you were on an ATV that didn't have the rollover bar and didn't have safety belts. This is a recommendation that came from the administration through Commissioner Porter in conjunction with the Department of Motor Vehicles. And that's it on the changes. I think probably there are going to be some questions on the ATV stuff. I can take the screen down or leave it up, whatever.
Can we go back to section 30, the one previous that you were reviewing as we ended? I don't know why I'm having a little bit of a hard time with that one. I just want
to. Okay, so under existing law, if you look at subdivision 2 at the very top of page 38, it's saying that you don't need to have registration or a trail access decal in these instances. And then a bunch of them are listed out, A through E. And E, which would be deleted here, is what applies to operation on frozen bodies of water. So this is saying that if you're operating on a frozen body of water, you don't need the trail access decal, you don't need the registration. And then in the language itself of subdivision E, it goes on to say that you don't need protective headgear. So that's current law. What's happening is, by striking out and repealing all of subdivision E, frozen bodies of water no longer fall under subdivision 2. But we're adding a new subdivision 4 that's saying you don't need the trail access decal, you don't need the protective headgear. What's missing, not included in 4, that would be included in 2E is the registration piece. So
Okay.
by making this change, that's how it is that you're saying the ATV needs to be registered. It doesn't need the trail access decal. You don't need to wear protective headgear, but it does need to be registered. So that's the change.
That
That
seems
work?
reasonable. That seems reasonable, doesn't it?
It was reasonable enough to be the law for snowmobiles, and the administration would like it to be the law for ATVs as well. Commissioner Porter told House Transportation that this was an oversight last year, and it never should have. The administration never intended to propose that registration not be required to operate on a frozen body of water.
So this was Commissioner Porter, that added in the House. Yeah, he
Yeah.
called me about that. Senator Kitchell, you had a question?
Well, I think the fundamental question is, do we agree that we should align the policies for snowmobiles and ATVs, which is really what this is doing? And I thought we had kind of agreed that it did. So this, I don't know, I guess, are we, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit late. I'm juggling a potential House amendment that has budgetary impact. So I'm late to the discussion. Is this in regard to the concern that was raised by to us by a member from the House, which really wants us to revisit? No, okay.
That will come, right, that, we'll go to the next one after that. I don't know if you were here or not. Right?
Yeah,
I just came on.
Yeah, so I would say there are 3 things going on. One, there's the change proposed by the administration.
Budgetary impact. So I'm late to the discussion. Is this in regard to the concern that was raised by to us by a member from the House, which really wants us to revisit? No, okay.
That will come, right, that, we'll go to the next one after that. I don't know.
Is
if you were
everyone
here.
hearing Senator Kitchell again?
But yeah,
Yes.
I think
I
it's
just came
something,
on.
I think it's something to do with, they got the,
Closed
I got rid of
caption.
mine. Yeah, I got rid of mine, but I think you just got repeated.
I got it. I think it was me.
Okay.
Okay, so that was very weird.
I got rid of mine too, so I don't know where we were getting the feedback, but
I think it must have been from something I did. So
Oh,
I think you're all set.
I was hoping we get Senator Mazza to fix it.
I don't know. Mine, my screen just went blank here, so I'm gonna figure that out. I don't know what's happening here.
We see you.
You can see me? I
Yeah.
can't see you. Okay.
Look for the camera with a line through it and then undo that
Okay, camera with a line through it. Where the heck is that? That's-
on either the bottom or the top. It says start video.
Oh,
The red line might be through it.
no, I don't see that either. I don't know where.
That would just affect his camera. It's on, his camera's on because we can see him. So if he can't
Yeah.
see
That's
us,
true.
Yeah.
I can't see you, but that's all right. I guess we can survive here and try to do the best we can.
we'll just let you know that we all look really good.
Oh, boy.
especially you, Senator
Yeah.
Mazza.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. I need
Yeah.
that. How to turn off. Okay, Google search. Well, all right, we'll continue on. That's all right. We'll do the best we can here. I can't see anybody, but
We'll holler to you.
Okay, so 3 things are going on. One, in section 36, this is the alignment with the treatment of snowmobiles, the administration saying, this is what we intended to propose last year to require ATVs when operated on frozen bodies of water. They need to be registered, but they don't need a trail access decal and they don't need to wear protective headgear. So that's thing 1. Thing 2 is in section 37, having a split approach to helmets. So for an ATV that doesn't have a rollover bar and doesn't have seat belts, it needs to wear the full headgear as approved and under CFR by the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards. But if it has a rollover bar and seat belts, then you can wear basically any sporting helmet. That's thing 2. Thing 3, which is not addressed in this bill at all, is Representative Norris does not think that you should be required to have a trail access decal if you're not. Sorry, I got muted.
Yeah.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes.
I
Okay.
can hear you, yeah.
The third thing is the trail access decal being required, even if you're not on the ATV trail system. And up in Representative Norris's community, there aren't any of the VASA trails. And he doesn't think, based on his communities, what they're providing to him, that the trail access decal should be required. The administration proposed and the General Assembly included last year language that does require the trail access decal if you're operating where, for the most part, you need to be registered. So that's the third thing. And that is in no way addressed in the language that you see in S86 as this House is proposing to amend it. Certainly something that this committee could look at, but it is not addressed and not changed in the language that you see in the side-by-side or the House's proposal of amendment. So those are the 3 ATV things that I'm aware of that are floating around out there.
Does anybody have an appetite for eliminating helmets at all, for all inside of a roll cage seat belt, side by side? Does anybody have an appetite for that at all?
And that's
I
what
mean-
that's what it's doing, right? Is that
Well,
what you're
there's actually, there's not, it's eliminating the extensive helmet, but it says any type of sporting helmet would suffice. And I think there might be some interpretation to what that is. Maybe you wouldn't have to have the face cover, like a full headgear helmet.
Okay, so that I was confused by that paragraph. So what they're saying is put on some kind of helmet, but not the full motorcycle helmet kind of thing.
Yeah.
Was there a lot of opposition? Are you thinking the House in this language, you think, or was there?
This was a proposal from the administration. House Transportation went along with it. There were no, I don't recall any questions or comments on the floor about ATVs aside from Rep. Norris and the trail access decal. So if there was opposition, I didn't hear it, but I also didn't hear all of the testimony.
I know
I'm certainly,
Bobby Starr had an issue, but I had Lewis Porter call him, but I don't know where what materialized from that.
I'm certainly getting a lot of opposition on my part as far as if they could not wear helmets inside of a enclosed with the roll bars and the seat belts and to not have a helmet at all. I think that the compromise that Lewis came up with is better. I mean, gets them closer to where they want to be. They're probably not going to be happy unless there's no helmets at all. But I think that then, and their take is what's the difference of them being in a vehicle versus, being in one of those side-by-sides with the roll bars and the seat belts.
Well, maybe we'll make baby steps and get there sooner rather than later.
Yep.
I don't know what the committee want to do.
Senator Ingalls, these roll bars, if I may, Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
These roll bars, are they by definition going to be padded so they'll provide some of the functions of a helmet?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're. Oh, I think the language, Anthea, help us out with the language if you would, please. It has to be factory roll bars, right? It has to be.
So in order for that second lesser helmet requirement to apply, it needs to be equipped with manufacturer installed rollover protection safety and safety belts that have not been removed or modified in any way that reduces their effectiveness. So you couldn't put your own roll bar on.
Right.
You'd need
Right.
to
It has to be.
what the manufacturer is putting on. As to what iterations of manufacturer installed rollover protection exists, I think maybe the DMV or Commissioner Porter could give you more information on that, or a side-by-side enthusiast.
Quick follow-up.
Yep, go ahead.
So I'm always fine with Vermont doing its own thing, but I'm curious, do we know if other states don't have a helmet requirement when those conditions are met?
New Hampshire doesn't, as far as with.
Yeah, but they
the-
don't have a helmet law at all.
Well, that's true too.
Yeah,
Jane.
ask Joe Benning. He'll tell you.
That is true too, Jane. So, I didn't think of it that way.
it's so late in the process.
Yeah, that, I
Yeah.
think we should just go with it and then make
Yeah.
changes next year if we have to.
Yep. I'm good. I'm good with that. I
Okay.
just wanted to see what your guys'
Thank you.
appetite was for it.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, Anthea.
So that is it in terms of the changes that came over from the House. I know that you want to circle back on the lights and the signal lamps. I have what could be a further proposal of amendment that is adding the only used when parked language, but I don't know if the committee was there
Well,
yet.
I want to have a discussion about this again. This is, this has been around a long time, and I don't know if it's worth the battle at this point. I did talk to Butch yesterday, and he seemed to think that because the manufacturer comes through this way, it's going to be very difficult. And the state police or the police are on board because they get their red light out of it. So I don't know, I'll leave it up to committee again, whether we should just let it happen, and because this battle is going to go on for a long time. I thought we had an original understanding at Park, and then it went back to the manufacturer of the fire trucks, and new ones versus you buy one that's used or from somebody else, and it has it on there. So at this point, I'll let this committee rediscuss this issue, and I'm not going to die on it or, fall on a sword over it. And so what is your thoughts? You want to let it go as it is and move on, get this thing resolved, or have this battle?
It's not going to go away.
No,
The
it's not. gonna
question,
go away.
and I know we've all had our concerns,
Yeah,
but this has been, I don't know how many years.
no,
What, probably at least 8.
yeah. There was a concern about police, naturally. That was one of the things that I try to protect over the years. But if they're getting a red light and they're have no objection to it, I just hope that, and I know it's going to increase in the years to come. That's for other people to decide. That's my worry about it. But I guess we have to face that reality when it happens, that there will be a time when there are going to be volunteers and people asking for the blue lights, and that's going to create a problem. But at this point, if it's limited to one blue light on a fire truck while it's moving, I don't know what else we can say at this point. So, yes, Senator, go ahead. Senator Chittenden, go ahead.
Let it be known, I draw the line at disco balls. Absolutely no disco balls.
I was trying to warm up to that, so hold on.
I kind of like that. If we can, then what we have here is the choice, do we just concur? And this is the end.
That's right.
Okay.
Well,
Yes,
Senator Mazza?
Senator, go ahead, Senator Pershing.
I mean, if we wanted to keep discussing it with the House, we could amend it with the version with it still moving, and then just have that discussion in a conference or have them go. But I'm okay with what they've done.
Is there
given
any
the
other?
police-
Is there any other issue in the bill that is a concern to us at this point? I thought we agreed to everything else. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
What I was going to say is S47. And I'm a little worried about that bill in the House in just like running out of time. Not that it seems like they might have the votes, but they just might get delayed. And I don't want the bill not to pass just because of a lack of time or something like that. And this would be the last vehicle we would have to put it on. So I wondered if the committee would consider adding our version of S47 onto this bill, and then the House Transportation Committee could add things to it in that format.
But then we're back to a conference committee, I believe, right? We'd have another discussion again. If they're not, why aren't they acting on the other bill? Now that you're talking S47 is the
Repair.
Yeah, about electric car manufacturers opening service centers, and
Yeah,
then
well,
we added stuff about
I guess they entered-
franchise.
I think entered the, I got a call from, what's his name, the other day. Now they got a lobbyist from General Motors. What's his name? Yeah, we all know him. He's been around the State House for years.
Johnson.
Yes, Justin Johnson. And so now I think it's opened up some debate in the House. So I don't know what they've been discussing or what the new version is or what has transpired, what is happening with the GM testimony.
I bet it's the
Thea
same
can
as we
give us
heard
an
from the
update, but I-
manufacturer.
I can provide a small update.
Okay, good, thank you.
So House Commerce took a few days of testimony on this. And what they recommended to House Transportation is that if the bill moves forward, the prohibition on manufacturers retail selling parts and offering subscription agreements shouldn't go into effect until July 1 of 2022. So it's all of your language, but two pieces of it has a delayed effective date. That is what House Commerce recommended. They kept everything else the same. House Transportation is in the process of figuring out what it wants to do based on that recommendation. They've taken extensive testimony. They actually heard from another direct-to-consumer manufacturer earlier in the week. And they're hearing from GM this afternoon after the floor today. So they might be in a position to say what they're going to do after that, but I don't know what's going to happen with it. But that's what House Commerce did.
So maybe
Sure.
we should have not act today on this and have a follow-up discussion with the chair of House and
Right.
see if in light of that, they tend to move the bill out with that date change.
I think that would be a good suggestion. We could pass over it today until Tuesday. And then we could, I'll try to, I'll get a hold of Butch and I'll get a hold of the chair and see what their idea is of the other one before we act Tuesday. That'll give us the weekend to rethink, or if we want to make, I'd like to have a smooth transition so we get this thing behind us. And 'cause I don't know what's going to happen to T-bill. How many issues they're going to be concerned about. I have not talked to her yet. I was going to do that, but that just passed yesterday. So
And Senator Persh, like that language in there that isn't hard language to that bill, is it? As far as what they want to do?
Yeah, no, I'm okay with Commerce's recommendations.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
They just
think
seem to be bogged down in the franchise stuff, so.
I know the House, I told you guys yesterday, I got a couple calls from the House members, and they were really, really struggling with that. They really were. And I think that they just couldn't really understand. They couldn't understand. I don't think they ever got to the point as deep as we did in the testimony of why the dealers were afraid of that bill and how we were able to work through it and make everybody happy. I don't think they ever got to that point. So they were having a hard time understanding really what it was trying to do.
well, there was a deep concern, as we know, we had on our side about protecting dealers. We certainly want to do that. And I thought we had a pretty good bill when it left us. I thought it pretty well protected the dealers.
Yep.
And that was the main concern, and rightfully so. If Tesla wants to do something different, as long as it doesn't hurt the franchise dealers who spend millions of dollars in this state, we were concerned about that, but I think we resolved that issue. So I thought.
I know that Marilyn Miller was very happy with it. I mean,
Yeah, oh yeah, dealers
I
are very happy.
I communicated with them after. I mean, their
Yep,
resistance
yep.
to all of this ended
Yep.
once we did put those protections in. And I think Senator Kitchell, it sounds like another lobbyist for the manufacturers have gotten in there and raised concerns again.
sounds it.
Yeah, I talked to the head of the dealer association there, in Montpelier, the Chevy dealer, and he was very happy with the bill, and they had a meeting. They were all happy with the bill, so there was no opposition. So, all right, then let's do that. Who's we'll just make it known this morning. We'll pass over that. What was it? S 66? Is that it?
47.
47.
No,
86.
86. I'm sorry,
86.
86.
That's what I thought. Okay, so. we'll
And
make-
I put a communication out to the dealers and their representative to see if they would be okay with adding it to the miscellaneous bill. Just so we can see what they're thinking.
Well, yeah, I think that's, I hope it's gonna be resolved on the House side. I'd rather not
Yeah.
put it in here if I didn't have to.
Okay.
Okay, so anything else this morning before we, so we got that. We're gonna wait till Tuesday or just pass over it. And who's reporting S86?
I am.
Okay, just ask to pass over it. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, we'll do that. And anything else we can discuss this morning before we,
No,
again, thank you. That was quite an interesting meeting this morning, Jane.
oh,
We had an interesting afternoon yesterday with the press.
Oh, we did.
Oh, boy, I'll tell you.
yeah, but my concern is people are coming in testifying and they think what they're testifying to is that they're going to influence the final decisions. And if the rest of us don't have the benefit of what your committee is taking for testimony, it doesn't go anywhere. It's just a nice conversation. So that was my concern about how to take this testimony and turn it into something. Either you can act on it, or if there are legal questions, then get them addressed. I was like, well, it's nice you're taking testimony, but toward what end?
This is the, for those who didn't, this is a testimony about the press being allowed.
But
back in
I
state
think we're still
public.
on, we're
Yeah.
beyond.
Yeah,
Have
you
we